Hey there, everyone, and welcome to the Unofficial Google My Business show. Here, we're going to talk about all things Google My Business and how you can improve your Google My Business profile, your Google My Business practices, and your Google My Business jungle etiquette in order to create more leads and generate more conversions for your business online. So essentially, the whole point of this show is to show you how to use Google My Business to the best of your ability so that you can reach to the tops, very tip tops of the canopy for everyone to hear and see your business and your message. I'm your host. My name is Rody, your jungle guide, and joining me today is Nancy, the optimization queen of the jungle. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself, Nancy, my liege, my queen?
Yes, of course. So I always like to introduce myself to the citizens of my realm here in the GMB digital jungle. So I've been working in digital marketing and SEO and all things in that realm for about 8 years now. So it's been a long time working my way up in the ranks to the top of the canopy. So that way I can talk to you guys through these episodes in order to get our message across.
Nice, nice, nice. So since this is the first episode of our show, I guess we should talk about like the basics, right? Like
Yeah, we gotta.
WTF, what in the fridge, what the frog, let's stick with the jungle theme. What the frog is Google My Business? So Nancy, maybe you can answer this for us. What the frog is Google My Business?
Well, that's a really good question, Rody. So I think that's the first place you want to start with when you're going through the digital jungle here for GMB. So Google My Business is a tool that Google created in order to give businesses a free platform. You heard me, free platform to gather their business information and show it off, connect with potential and current customers, get online reviews, share information and updates about their business, and even, give people a spot to click a button that says get directions directly to that business. So it's a really, really awesome way that Google disperses information across the web. So as the number one search engine, Google wants to show people really good information. So they're not just trying to show any information. They want to show the best information. Okay. So the best way that they found to do that was to create this platform where, they can host business information, allow the businesses to claim and manage those profiles in order to, get the right information out there.
Okay, that makes sense. So on Google My Business, there's like tons of potential information that you can put.
Yeah.
So, like, what are some of the things that you can put on there? Now, remember, this is just a little introduction, so we don't have to go too heavy, right?
Yeah,
we don't have to go too deep yet.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know. What else can you put on there?
So, really, you can put on almost anything and everything. So, you have your business hours, your name, address, phone number. So, all of that normal stuff. But then you can really go into detail and update your attributes on your profile so that way you can let people know, that you're wheelchair accessible, you're an LGBTQ safe space, that you guys do no contact delivery and so forth. So that kind of all change depending on the industry of your business. And, like we said, we'll go into detail a little bit later on in this show, but really it's a place for you to put everything that you need out there in order to really differentiate yourself from the competition and, get to the head of the pack.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think that's like a really solid introduction. So essentially the idea of using Google My Business is to promote your business. It's essentially like a profile. Would you say it's kind of like a social media profile, or maybe we wouldn't go that far?
I wouldn't go that far, even though, I think GMB posts are a really similar concept to posting on your Facebook or your LinkedIn or something like that. So in that extent, yeah, you're sharing information pretty instantaneously in order to connect with people.
Cool. Well, in that case, so yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah, like so you're essentially connecting with your customers. You're not using it to connect with other businesses, right?
Exactly.
Unless I suppose another business is searching your business for whatever myriad reasons. Right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, B2B businesses, I'm sure, use that as well, just like everyone else. And I mean, it's something that people use, whether they own a business, whether they're a freelancer, or, you're just a regular person looking for, a good restaurant in your neighborhood. I think everyone pretty much defaults to going to Google to search for things in their area.
Cool. Yeah. And to check out reviews, of course, too, right? I'm not sure if you mentioned that. But yeah, that's like the big one, right? Like, what's your score on Google My Business? But again,
definitely,
we'll talk tons about this. The jungle is full of different species, different kinds of plants, different kinds of animals, and we're going to go over them all, of course. But first, we're going to ask the very, very basic question in segment 1 of today's show. Wait, you're not using Google My Business?
Who is that person who's not using it? Well, Rody, surprisingly, a ton of businesses aren't using Google My Business. So, I mean, hopefully we're speaking to some of those folks today as well.
Yeah, like this show, sometimes I think like, man, it's like the people who are searching the show are the people who want to get good at Google My Business, and they're probably already like a leg up. But like, if you know people, like I'm talking directly to the audience and the viewers now, if you know people who are not using GMB, tell them they should start yesterday because of how important it is for like so many different reasons. Basically, what we're talking about, essentially, one of the biggest things we're going to be talking about here, a theme that we're going to harp on over and over again, is visibility, right? We're going to talk about SEO, not too much today, but we're going to talk about how you can raise your rank essentially in the Google results page, right? Like the search results.
Yep.
So we'll talk more about that later. But for now, yeah, is there anything else we should say before we introduce people to the jungle?
Yeah, let's get started. Welcome to the jungle.
Cool. Yeah, so I have a little tiny story, right? But to start, essentially, there is a really popular empanada truck here in Brooklyn, right? I know that is extremely vague and that tells you nothing. But in Brooklyn, by my favorite park, my second favorite park, it's called McCarran Park, right? There's an empanada truck that always hangs out on the north side. Now, if you're from the area, you might be familiar. Now, do me a favor. If you know what I'm talking about, try to search the empanada truck. Go ahead, like give it a shot, right? I searched it because I really wanted to see the hours. I wanted to see the menu, and I wanted to know if I can get a delivery order from them, right? Because it's a little bit like infamous. Like the truck is so good, and luckily it's always there, but there's no way to check, if they're open. There's no way to know like what any information about it, right? I can't even remember the name of the truck, but I love it. And so I guess the big question is like, what are these guys missing? I searched for them on Google. They don't come up. I'm a little frustrated. I mean, I know where to go, but it's a long walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially to check if they're open, right? So, like, what are they missing by wandering off into the jungle without their Google My Business map?
Yeah, I think, exactly what you said. If you know that a business is there, like the empanada truck, that's great. I mean, you could potentially make the long walk and discover that they're not open, but maybe they're good enough that you're saying, okay, well, I'll come back tomorrow and check it out. But the ideal situation,
yeah, let's be honest, I'm gonna make the walk.
Yeah, so like the ideal situation would be that while you're still at your house or you're still in your car, going from work to your next destination or something, that you could have pulled up your phone or your computer and just checked out their information. And especially if you're trying to reach more customers, brand new people that don't know about your business, not having a Google My Business profile is making you miss out on an entire massive audience. So like I said, Google is the biggest search engine. It's the most popular one. It's on all our phones, basically. So when you don't have a profile on GMB, when someone searches for empanada near me or anything like that, your business isn't going to show up. I mean, every once in a while, Google will auto-generate a business profile and, that might still pop up. But even in those situations, the phone number for the business might not be there, the hours, the location, information might be missing or incorrect. So even if you're not managing your profile, even if you don't think you have one, there might be information out there that's misleading to your potential future customers, which is never a good first impression to make. And then if you do have real customers that are looking for you, I mean, you never know if the signal is going to get crossed and they're going to think that you shut down. So I think it's really, really important to, put together your profile, fill it with really, really good information, ask for new reviews in order to get your rankings up and share, your customer experience with people and really make the most of this because you get a lot of traffic and we see our customers get like a ton of inquiries, calls, directions, just through their GMB profile and nothing else. And like I said before, and I'll say this forever, it's free. So there's really, really no reason to avoid this as a tool that you should be using.
Yeah. That's So yeah, there's like a couple of comments I wanted to say. So first of all, thank you. That's like super informative. Worst case scenario is that people get their wires crossed, like you said, and they start like thinking things that aren't true about your business. But I think even worse than that is somebody else making a profile for you and sort of taking over that spot. So the interesting thing I wanted to point out is Google My Business is essentially like the ground we walk upon, because for most people, like literally, like, and interestingly, like before I would search something and I didn't even know it was called Google My Business, but that's it. That's
Mhm.
the profile that shows up, right? And there are certain profiles that show up first before others. It has to
Mhm.
do with your reviews. It has to do with your, like if you're posting, do you have pictures? Are people searching for you, like to begin
Yeah,
with, right?
interacting with
Like,
the profile.
yeah, are people interacting with you, right? Do you have, of course, we'll touch upon this a lot more later, but do you have your name, address, phone number,
A
available and
good old
ready to
nap.
go? Yeah, good old nap. Everyone loves a nap, especially me after a long day of
Same.
bushwhacking in the jungle.
Yeah, it's tiring work.
Yeah. Um, so that being said, like, there's so much opportunity with Google My Business, and
Mhm.
people use it without even realizing. Like, when you're logging onto Facebook, when you're logging onto Instagram. The thing
Mhm.
about Google My Business is a little bit more slippery, right? Because all you have to do to find a Google My Business profile is to search something. That's
Yep.
it. You search something, and if you're searching accurately enough, then the actual Google My Business profile will just pop up. Like, you won't even have
Mhm.
to do anything. It'll literally just show up. You don't have to go to maps, whereas that's where you usually see it, by the way. We should definitely
Mhm.
discuss that. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
depending on the device you're using. So if you're on the computer,
yeah.
chances are you probably went like to google.com to make that search. If you're on your phone, chances are you opened up maps and are
Or
doing it through there. I mean, you can also search through like Safari or whatever on your phone to pull up
mhm.
Google, and then you come across GMB. It all links together the same way, and it's all a method, like a funnel of getting people to your business.
It's all connected. All vines are connected in this
Mhm.
jungle, which makes it easy to swing from vine to vine, which we'll talk about soon. That's our next segment. But
Yes.
but yeah, so I have one more question, Nancy, for you
Go
for
ahead.
this segment. Is Google My Business even a good solution for any business? Is anyone excluded from this, or is it just empanada trucks, like mysterious empanada trucks or something like
Just driving through the fog, handing out their
yeah,
empanadas.
empanada, where just me
Yeah,
calling out into the
screaming into the desert.
darkness, into the night.
Yeah. So really, that's a good question, and it's a good follow-up to what we've just been talking about. The answer is it's good for every business and every industry. So hear me
Mhm.
out, every business and every industry. So even if you're in a sensitive industry, like, you're a funeral home, or you
Mhm.
kind of do like drug testing or something like that, or you're one of those businesses, you're not excluded from this. People are still looking for those services no matter what. So
Mhm.
no matter if you're a restaurant, hotel, doctor's office, hospital, plumber, electrician, funeral home, marketing agency, everything in between, you definitely want a GMB profile. Now, the information that you might be able to put up on your profile might change depending on your industry. So, for example, like
Yeah.
hotels and hospitality businesses don't currently get the option to post GMB posts. However, if you're a doctor's office, you can do that all day. Same thing with like electricians and so forth. So, there's always a way to make the most out of your profile no matter what.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned earlier that different profiles will get different like attributes and different things will pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I guess again, like, there's so much to talk about. There's like a whole ecosystem of
Yeah.
concepts here. But
And
I
we're
just
going to
wanted to,
walk everyone through that. Episode to episode, we're going to take people deeper into the GMB jungle.
yeah, I just wanted to stress this, so I made a little banner for it. I hope
Oh, nice.
every
Every
business.
business.
There's more claps to put in there, but that's just the
That's
beginning.
like the Miami coming out of me to explain this to you. Clap on every syllable.
Every business. Awesome. So let's move on to our next segment. Our next segment we call Vine to Vine, because all vines are interconnected. But this segment is more talking about examples, really, like, how is everything linked together? What does it
Mm-hmm.
mean? What does, like, what are other people doing? What can we see through our like binoculars in the jungle? You know what I mean? Like, What?
Mhm.
Sorry, you
You
don't
had
have to do
to.
that. Yeah, you had to do it to him. Anyway, vine to vine. Nancy, how do we show the world that this is important? So, just real quick before, I'm so sorry. Like, just I'm gonna let you finish, but no. Um, Real quick, we are part of a company called GMB Gorilla, right?
Mhm.
Our job is to essentially manage Google My Business profiles for tons of other businesses. Now we have lots of businesses that we work for, some really big businesses and some super tiny fledgling businesses, and some businesses that are literally one person, like a counseling,
Mhm.
thing or something like that, a counseling business. So we work for a company called GMB Gorilla, right? And GMB
Sure.
Gorilla, the whole point behind it is that we are managers of Google My Business profiles. Essentially, that's why we're the experts. That's why I'm your guide. And that's why Nancy here, sorry, yeah, Nancy here, to make sure to point it to the right side, is, is the optimization queen of the Google My Business jungle. Now,
Mhm.
Nancy, the big question here on Vine to Vine, why should anyone believe what we're saying? Like,
That's a really good question. So a lot of people are like, well, where are the stats? Where's the data? But we have the receipts. So we're not just here to talk to you and say, oh, GMB works really well. I mean, that is our message, but we're not just going to leave it at that. We're not monkeying around, and I'm just going to give it to you straight. So using GMB to its fullest extent can give us some really, really good results. And I know Rody has a little slide that we're going to look at and read to the people who are listening in as opposed to watching our videos on YouTube or wherever it's
yeah, of
hosted.
course.
Yep. So we'll do both for everyone.
Hold on. For the people watching the video, I'm adding a banner here. You didn't see this coming. We have the receipts with clappy emojis. We're spamming the clappy emojis today, just for everyone
I'm just getting
listening
called
in.
out on that.
Yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick so you guys can see the amazing little bullet points. By the way, you'll notice that I love making bullet point lists.
It's going to be a recurring theme, and we love to see it.
Yeah, I don't really love it, but Nancy makes me. So, all right. How's that looking? Good?
That's looking good. We avoided the void, and I'm sure, we'll introduce people to that later on as the show goes on, inevitably.
Yeah.
But like I said, we have the receipts. So I'm not just going to sit here and say it's good, use it, believe me. Instead, I'm going to tell you that when you have a properly optimized and managed GMB profile, we've seen clients get the following results. So phone actions were up 1,600% year over year. 1,600, not 16%.
That's rounding down, by the way. So 1,666% increase year over year.
Thank you, math teacher Rody.
I did used to be a teacher, so
it's true. And I used to be terrible at math, so it's good. We balance each other out. But back to the point, in Maps views, we've seen 538% increases year over year. Search views, which is really, really important, 875% increase year over year. Direct inquiries, which are any situation where someone is Googling your actual business name, those have gone up by 5,271%. I was specific, Rody, so you don't have to correct me on that one. But isn't that a crazy number?
That's kind of extraordinary.
Yeah. And then indirect queries went up by 1,110% year over year. So across the board, those are pretty incredible results. I mean, I know a lot of people are happy if they see like 20%. Any growth is good growth, really, as long as you're doing it, consistently year over year. But seriously, like those numbers, like 500 to like 5,000% increase, if you're doing it properly, it's really, really awesome to see. And that's why we don't just leave it at use GMB because it's good. Use GMB because it's going to get you these types of results if you're doing it right.
Yes, that's so it's super, super important to note that, right? Like essentially when you start making because the thing is, because everyone is using Google, that's like the number one thing. Because everyone is using Google, when you start harnessing the power of Google and focusing your energies, right? Like do the meditation, hold on to the vine and meditate, or meditate upside down by your feet, however gorillas do it. You know what I mean? Or
They do. I'm sure they do all of those things, including climb.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna have to put a zoologist on the show as well. I feel like
That's your first guest.
Yeah, or maybe not, because then they'll just correct us on all our really mistaken like animal
Well,
like reference.
The big blue gorilla, he does what he wants.
He does do what he
King
wants.
of the jungle.
He is blue after all. I don't think he cares.
That's true.
He hasn't been caring for a long time. Anyway, all right, let's go back. Let's avoid the void.
Oh boy, we saw a little glimpse of it. So for our listeners, the void, Rhodey and I both have degrees in philosophy, which is a fun fact that's completely unrelated to marketing. But when we get sucked into the void of our screen mirroring over and over again, we might call it out, and hopefully we can avoid it most of the time.
Yeah, and we'll call it. It's a little segment we like to call "Avoid the Void," or stare into the void, but don't let it stare back into you.
True.
Anyway, let's continue. So Nancy, big question based on off of all these facts, figures, logic, and reasons that we just that we just read out. Like, can everyone achieve results like this? Like, is it reasonable to expect that you're going to get a 5,000 increase in like direct inquiries to your business because of Google My Business? Or like, what are we talking here? How is this applicable to people?
Well, we're going to unpeel that banana on this show, because the type of work that you're going to be putting into your profile really depends on the industry that you're in and the amount of time that you're spending on this. So, make sure that you're doing the research and checking out your competitors to make sure how to best invest your time. But really, if you're going through and keeping your information updated, your service areas are really comprehensive to the areas that you do work within. You'll see a payoff. If you're using FAQs, you're posting GMB posts weekly, you're keeping everything updated, your profile has really, really good photos and videos. That's all what you need to start seeing results. Now, it might take time if you're a brand new profile, but you'll see increased calls. You'll see increased inquiries and directions and all that as you continue to use and grow your GMB profile.
You know what? This sounds a lot like a pro tip.
Woo!
Yeah, so essentially, Nancy, so we kind of skipped over the first pro tip, or honestly, we didn't skip over it. You kind of just like wrapped it up in there, which was really awesome of you.
We're gonna stick to the pro tips.
That's your amazing philosophy writing background. Yeah, so you just blend it all in there, and hopefully someone can
absorb
something from your writing, or glean something. But yeah, essentially, Nancy was saying to check your competitors out, and that's a big one, right? Like, see what your competitors do, see how they're managing their GMB profiles, what they have. It's just always a good place to start, and not even your competitors too. Just like what are successful businesses doing in general, right? The greatest form of flattery is imitation, which is why I tried to imitate Nancy with my small plants versus her giant, amazing plants.
He's a baby monstera, and I have a monster.
Monster, mama monster. So the pro tip number 2 being like, how can we make the question being, how do we make the most out of the work? The pro tip being, it's a team effort, right? Like you want to look onto other people's profiles, you want to see what they're doing, but you also need to manage it yourself, right? You need to respond to reviews regularly. You need to answer direct messages that people send to you. If you turn on that messaging function, make sure you're replying, because people are looking for information, maybe not within 5 minutes, but think about it. Like, who likes to be left on red? You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
Don't ghost your customers. Maybe that could be the next one, is me being like, don't ghost your customers. Respond to your customers.
Cool. Well, I think we'll get to that in a future episode, honestly, because that's again, like, we're trying to give like a survey course of the jungle right now, but there's just so much to talk about. Yeah.
Again, but that's a really good roundup of the pro tip. I think, make sure you're paying attention to what other people are doing. You don't want to copy them directly, of course, because that is bad in any situation. But if you have, we don't like that here. If you have a competitor that's using GMB posts, then like make sure you're doing it as well, in the way that your business would. So share your information, share your images, share your events, and so forth. So just make sure that everything is as filled in as possible, looking good, and that, you're working with your team and yourself within your schedule to make sure that you're doing this consistently.
Right. And then, so yeah, that's actually our next segment, by the way. But I just wanted to say quickly that even if your competitors are not using GMB, if you're the first one using GMB, guess
Good.
who's going to come up when customers are searching for results related to your business? You know, like it's not like rocket scientist. It's not it's not rocket science. It's nothing crazy. It's if you have the best profile, if you make it easy for people to, if you bushwhack your way through the jungle, people are going to be able to walk the path that you bushwhacked, leading them directly to your, I don't know, cave. Like, yeah, we're gonna have to do more guerrilla research here.
Oh yeah. But I mean, hey, if you're a rocket scientist, make a GMB profile. If you have your little lab or your office, don't forget to make a profile. So we can come full circle here before we swing on or climb on over to segment 3, which is climb that tree.
Climb that tree. And this is why I'm really thankful that Nancy's here, everybody, because Nancy can take the dumb things that I say and turn them into something constructive, which is it's a blessing, honestly. I'm just a guide, but Nancy truly is like the queen who's, putting all the parts in motion here.
Well, thank you.
All right. So climb that tree. What do we mean when we say climb that tree? Climb that tree is essentially the third segment of our little program here, where we talk about how specifically, how anybody can have access to the GMB jungle, right? Like, how do you navigate it yourself? What do you do? What are things that we can do? So the question I want to ask today is, what's the right time to start climbing that GMB tree?
Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier, yesterday, this is something that is extremely popular, even though, not every business is using it. So like Rody said, if you're the first one in your area, that doesn't mean, oh, I can chill and slow down. I don't need to do it right now because no one else is doing it. No, you need to start doing it now. Because the sooner you do it, the more reputability your profile has, the more information you can share, the more you can build and grow it. You can get more reviews over time if you're asking your clients. So really the best time to start working on your GMB profile is right now if you haven't already. And you don't need to put a ton of time into it. You don't need to hire an outside team. If you're able to put in the work and you're confident in that, then go ahead and try it out yourself. I mean, if anything fails, then the gorilla is here to catch you when you fall, and we're going to be here to help you.
Yeah, it's definitely time for a little plug, faux show. I'm going to go. That being said, I wonder who can help with such things.
Could it be?
Oh,
GMB Gorilla.
Oh my goodness, GMBGorilla.com. Contact us. You're going to get one of us, and we're going to help you. We're a really small company, but we're here for y'all.
Yeah, we're a small company, but the gorilla is big and strong, and he uses his brains and brawn to optimize your profile. How did that rhyme? Pretty well.
That was pretty good. Again, this is why you're here. This is why you're queen, and I'm just a simple guide. I'm like,
Well, you're bringing the people in, so yeah.
Presumably. But yeah, so pro tip number 3, let me go ahead and spin this for you real quick, is now is the best time to start. So one of the things that we talk about often here in GMB Gorilla is, and the whole reason that we've created this is that GMB is honestly one of the last like really, really low effort, high ROI marketing like techniques that you can use. It's there, it's available. If you haven't already, claim your business before somebody else does. Please, if you do nothing else, please go claim your business. If you have a business and it's featured on GMB and you haven't claimed it, do it.
Yeah.
Now.
People can always submit updates and Google will accept them if they're not being managed. At least when you manage your own profile, it will say, accept these user submitted edits, and you can either accept them or not. But really the best thing to do is at least get management access to your profile so that way you can put in the work.
Yeah, get verified, get access to your profile, start making whatever changes or updates, or really like you're just trying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to optimize it, which means filling everything out accurately and making sure that the pictures look good. At least put a logo. You know what I mean? You want to show off who you are, right? So the best thing you can do is say, "Oh, well, this is who we are, right? This is my business." Introduce yourself to the world, essentially.
Exactly. It's a free form of advertising. I mean, like free. No one, where is that available now? I mean, on Google Ads, you have to pay, on Facebook, everything like that. You do need to pay for your advertisements to be out there. But if you're using GMB and you're on the world's biggest search engine and you have really good reviews, you're ranking really high, your rating is great, that's free advertising. You're going to show up at the top of the local pack. People can click on your profile. They can see your posts, which is another little, mini spot for those ads, as we're calling them. So go ahead and make the most out of your profile so you can climb to the canopy.
Yeah. There's so many benefits that's why we're making this whole series about this. You essentially need to grab onto this because, believe it or not, you can manage reviews that you get. If people are leaving weird reviews that don't make sense, if people are posting strange pictures to your business, like, this is something you want to grab onto. This is something you want to get control of as fast as you can.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
The good news is we're going to tell people how to do that. We're going to keep going. Absolutely. So why don't we let them know about next week's episode? What are they going to look forward to? What stuff are we going to talk about?
So next week, we're going to talk about episode 2. Well, specifically, we're going to talk about your GMB posts, right? Because this is one of the most important overlooked things. Even when you do make your GMB profile, a lot of people don't even realize that you can update posts. You can actually create little free advertisements that people will see the moment they search your business on Google. So the name of our episode is strategically, a good GMB post is like a good banana. Everyone wants to check it out.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
I've heard that a lot. Yeah, out in the street.
They say that. That's what they say. Yeah. So anyway, let's wrap up here. That's the end of our show. Thank you so much for listening. Again, this is the unofficial Google My Business show. We are GMB Gorilla. My name is Rhoda, your jungle guide. And this is
Nancy, the optimization queen of the jungle. And don't forget to tune in next week. We're going to be making plenty of terrible jokes and puns, but sharing really good information. So we're going to strike a balance that will hopefully help you climb to the top of the canopy and make the most out of this awesome tool.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.